All right, here we are. It's Friday. Can you believe it? It's Friday already. Friday, the ending of another week because the weekend it's on. It's on for you to do something that only you want to do. To get into your muse, to not have to fuss, to really discuss only with yourself what it is that's important. Getting back down to self. That's what this is all about. So I say good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Kathleen. I'm excited because today I said I was going to take just a wonderful idea. I think it's wonderful anyway, to talk about the tower of us. We as our own entity standing in our own. We're a tower. We are a tower, which is TOWER. And so sometimes you have to talk about how is the tower standing. How are you standing, especially with all the things going on, so much news, so much distraction, so much distance from socializing with people that you love, so much, so much, so much. And so I said, okay, let's talk about the tower that we are. And so I said, let me start off with a poem. And today's poem is by Langston Hughes. It's a short poem, but it's a poem that gives you great pause because it kind of gets into the dark side of life. Is that eventually we would talk about our demise, how we don't know how we're going to go down, but we certainly need to look at the process of how well we live. How well do we live? We need to be looking at the importance of living and what I saw, the power of living. I don't want it to be that when I leave here I haven't done anything. So I try to pack a lot. I know sometimes too much into a day, too much into a week, too much into a year, and so forth and so on, because I know eventually I won't be here. So my legacy is, what did I do while I was here? Did I stand tall on who I am? Was I making it a part of just my life, but influencing other lives that may be looking at my life? That's our walk. That's our walk. That's our talk. And then of course is, how well do we stand in the tower that we've been given? We've all been given something to, good morning, Jamisha, good morning, Ashley. We've all been given something. When we were born and we were raised, we saw some things along the way. And so now we stand in whatever it is that we learned, whatever it is, from conception until now, we stand in who we are. Even if we don't like some of the things that we may like to do or what we have done, because sometimes, once again, we have to get out of our feelings and get on to what makes us feel good going forward, and not worrying about what we did in our past. So I'm going to ask you this question this morning. Are you stuck? Yes, periodically we all get stuck. We're going to get stuck on every little thing sometimes that bothers us. We're going to get stuck. It's just, to me, automatic. It's automatic that we will get stuck on something, but it doesn't have to be anything that we continue to relive and relive and relive after we've gone over it. Once you've gone over something, move on. Move on. Move on. So anyway, this poem this morning is by Langston Hughes. And I said it is a short one, but it gives you great pause. It says, death is a tower to which the soul ascends to spend a meditative hour that never ends. So meaning, once you're dead, you are done. So however long pause is that we're in, once we go down, okay, once the tower has collapsed, once we've been buried, once we're risen again, if you believe in God, then that's what happens, okay? But what he speaks to is that you have time to give, meditation and things to things you can make some difference in now while you're still here. But once you go down to that meditative hour, there's nothing else you can do, because that hour never, ever ends. Good morning, Miss Shirley. It never ends. So the tower is, how well are we standing this morning? How well are we leaning to the left, leaning to the forward? Because anytime we're not standing straight, okay, we got to do some things to get us back to standing straight. That's the same thing if you have a back problem or a leg problem, it requires you to do something that gets you back to where you're better alignment. You feel better. You're able to stand up straighter, walk better, okay, move around better. So that's what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about the tower, I'm using it figuratively as what we stand in. That's our tower. That's who we are. And some things can bring us to our knees. Sickness can bring us to our beds. Prayer brings us to our knees. Sometimes losing somebody is going to absolutely have us laid out flat with grief. So we need to talk about how do we live every day trying to stand well in the tower that we were given. Taking care of our bodies, taking care of our minds, taking care of our hearts. All that has to do with the tower that we were given. So anyway, when I speak to tower, okay, it says a tower is a tall, narrow building. Remember, I'm using it figuratively. Either freestanding or a forming part of a building, such as a church or a castle. It says, or it's a rise to reach a great height. And so that speaks to the tower being towered over somebody else or some bodies other than yourself. So, like we have a president of the United States. He's considered to be a towering personality because of the authority that he has under the laws that he made it into office under. Okay? And it could be the same thing. You may look at your family and look at the hierarchical scheme of your family and your placement in the family. There's probably somebody that you go to in the family that may be considered the tower of the family. Maybe paternal, maybe maternal, but it doesn't matter. Everybody knows I need to go to Uncle Joe. He knows what to do. He knows how we need to make plans for what's going to happen. So when we speak to tower, we're really talking about the loom of something that could be very large. We're talking about the ascent of something, the mount, the overshadow, the overlook, the overhang, the dominant. If you ever have been to like a large city, such as New York City, Chicago, and you're really into what they call their central portion of the city where all the businesses are, if you've ever seen a towering building and you end up going there, and I remember when I was really little, my dad took me into Manhattan, and I got to see the Empire State Building. And I, as a little kid, I kept looking up and up and up. And my dad was holding my hand, and he said, keep looking up, you're going to fall. Keep looking up, and you're going to hurt yourself because people are walking. You need to look forward. But it was hard for me to see that the building didn't end because I was too small to see that this building was risen to a high level above anything that my eyes could even imagine. I couldn't see it. I kept thinking, wow, the building keeps going up and up and up. And so when you think about even the Twin Towers, when I used to work in the Twin Towers, doing some work, our office out of Albany had an office in New York City, right in the Twin Towers, and we used to go there. And I swear it was like on the 83rd floor. And the first time I went, I went down for a meeting, and I remember being absolutely frightened out of my gourd, thinking, what in the world? Because I want to say we got off at floor 63 or something like that, and then rose up again. You can correct me on the number. I can't remember. I tried to block all that out when I saw the towers fall. But what I'm saying is that if you've never seen how looming a large building can be, you can't even get the real concept of it until you go inside the building and go all the way up. Go all the way up and see the vista, the view was absolutely astonishing. You just couldn't imagine it. And I remember looking out and seeing the Statue of Liberty, you know. I remember looking out and seeing Staten Island and just being absolutely just big-eyed, like a little kid. Because by this time, you know, I was in my 20s, late 20s when I saw all that. Good morning, T. So can you imagine the stature of a building being so looming, you know, that it commands attention. It commands it. We as a force were given the towers of our bodies to command whatever it is that we're over, whatever it is. And sometimes we're not over anything but ourselves. Be it known, let it be known that that's important. You know, let it be known. You're important enough for that to happen. That you are the tower that you were given. All the things you've weathered in terms of your storms, all the things that you've handled in terms of your hurts, all the things that you've handled in terms of your happy, everything is in the tower because you are the control portion of the tower. You are your brain, you know, your heart, you know, those are the control portions of who you are, what you're all about, you know. And I'm going to tell you, whoever you are, remember that there's always somebody that's probably out there trying to figure out how they can take out brick by brick, okay? Mortar by mortar, all the way up, trying to chisel you down to make you more, what I say, manageable. But what I'm saying to you is that the tower you were given, you're over that. You have the dominant force over who you are. Nobody else does, but you do. You do. So anyway, when we start with the T of tower, we talk about tumble. And everybody knows what a tumble is, okay? A tumble is a fall. Sometimes it's suddenly. Sometimes it's just by clumsiness, you know, or it could be just by the fact that it was too headlong. It was too top heavy. Okay, something happened at the top that formed it to weaken the bottom, so therefore it went over. It crashed, okay? It fell down. It collapsed. It fell over. It fell end to end. It pitched over. It fell apart. You know, it basically destroyed itself. We as a people, we as each of an individual that we are, you know, must listen that our tower needs to stay strong. And in order for the tower to stay strong, you have to keep the head working, the heart still giving, still pumping, okay, towards living your life. Living your life. And so you want to look at not being someone who becomes victimized and falling, you know, because people will help it along. But a lot of times we allow them to help it along, you know. I have my grandmother used to say this, and I have a girlfriend, she said her father says it ain't nobody studying you. My grandmother always used to tell us that. Ain't nobody studying you. And I remember my mother would tell us, she would give us girls advice when we were going out. She says, look, y'all be careful out there because, you know, men are always on the prowl. They're always this, that, and the other. And we were young. You know, we might have been in our early 20s, just finished college, so we thought we were all of that. And my grandmother would always say, would you tell Lily, that was my mother's name, that a rat ain't always looking for cheese. So sometimes you just understand that they're telling you to stay tall in who you are, okay? But be on lookout. Be on lookout. And when you look around in your tower, if you're up at the top and you're using your brain and your heart, and they're connected right, because sometimes our heart will be disconnected and falling here and falling there for whatever. But the brain still has to try to stay as sturdy as it can to keep the proper lookout, okay? But if you're doing that, that means your vista should be clear. You should be able to see something so that you're not, you know, thrown over. You're not stumbling. You're not suddenly falling. You're not collapsing unto yourself. You're doing something. You're doing something. So the O of tower is observatory. Once again, we're going to stay right there. observatory. It's a position or a building that gives an extensive view. And when I told you about working sometimes out of our office at the World Trade Center, I remember the view. If there was nothing else I could ever do. Now I got to tell you, I had some pent up emotion about going that high. Which they call it. Is it acrophobia? I had something going on. Y'all write it in there if you know what I'm talking about. But I had something going on. Where I wasn't that, excited about having to go all the way up to the 83rd floor. But I did it. I did it because it was my job. The bottom line is that I was being paid to go do a job. So doing a job. And after a while, it didn't bother me as much because I didn't have to go that often. But I know what I sought out once I got up there. Before I hardly said hello to the office, I was going to look at the view because the view was unbelievable. To look around and see all of, the city like that. To see all the bridges and all the Long Island Expressway, everything. You could just see everything just like it was something that was painted on a picture. That's how clear it was. So when you talk about, observatory, you're really talking about the lookout of something. The catbird seat. I like that. Catbird. That means, okay, little nest up there. It says you're talking about the watchtower. They also call it a crow's nest. It talks about the overlook and the eyrie, the eyrie. An eyrie is basically a perched view. A perched view. To look at something, to see it, basically that you see everything that's possible from the seat you have, from the view that's in front of you. You see it. You can pick out things. You can identify things. That is what an observatory position gives you opportunity to do. The W of tower is watch. Now, when you look at watch, not just the watch that you wear on your arm, but the watch in this case is to look at or observe attentively over a period of time. Okay, so that's telling you to observe, to view, to look at, to gaze at, to contemplate, to survey something, to scan it, examine it, to study it, to take stock in. Good morning, Deborah. To take stock in something was when you watch something. To glimpse at it, to spy, to catch sight of, to witness, to eyeball something is to look at something that you're watching and then just to check it out. All those things speak to what the watch from a watchtower would give you, from a tower view, from a view that you observe everything that's going on. You see it. And a lot of times we, in our own towers of our bodies, we don't always see everything. Sometimes we turn our back to stuff. We don't want to see it. And sometimes the knowledge is in looking and observing enough to take away what you need to take away from it. How are you, Deborah? But anyway, the point is that to watch something becomes vital. It becomes absolutely vital that you watch. Even the Bible says that you watch and you wait. It doesn't say that you step out on everything that you see, but you should observe it. You should observe it. You should be somebody that is actually paying attention to what's going on around them, And even if you have to go out, right now, even though we're still doing, in the middle of a pandemic, we need to be observant. How close is somebody to you? Are they coughing? Do they look like they, might be, without a mask on and therefore in a position to make you sick? Good morning, Maurice. So you have to just be aware, be cognizant of your surroundings and constantly covering up, constantly putting yourself in a position of observed enough that I believe that the virus, can spread. So for me, because I don't want it, I need to cover up. I need to, sometimes put on gloves, depending if you go places and they don't have, what I call sanitation process. Most stores are required to have that now. as well as the, the mask requirement. At least now in Pensacola they do. I think over in Santa Rosa County they're still kind of, the people are saying that the doctors actually have petitioned, to say, hey, look, this virus is spread easily, more easily than what anybody wants to believe. So let's look at it that way. So the E of tower is to elevate, to really look at the elevation of something. Where is it? There's a rise. Where is it at? I need to know what's going on. So to elevate is to rise something up to a higher level, position, or state, to hoist it up. So when you think about a tower, is a tower not tall? Isn't it hoisted from the ground? It is. It is. So it says it's hoisted. It's a boost. Good morning, Sharon. It's boosted. Okay. It says it's a boost. It's lift. It's been lifted. It's buoyed up. It's upraised. It's hauled up. So all those have to do with the tower. We are our tower. We are our own tower. Every day we get up, we have some things that we should pay attention to. There are things, okay? The lookout in our brain, becomes our tower process. We're observing something. We don't want to tumble over, so we need to observe what's going on. Where's it at? How close is it to me? All those things are a part of this tower that I built up about who you are. And I understand, for those who came in late, I talked about, understanding that towers, the typical tower we're talking about might be a skyscraping building or a large building that certainly demands attention. It demands it because of its size. It demands it because of its dominance, sometimes over many of the other buildings that may be around it. But what I'm saying to you is that you're also a towering figure. You may not even be tall, but the tower is in your brain. The tower is in your heart. The tower is how you stand, how you're leaning. I did a thing on leaning not too long ago. And sometimes we lean too far to the left or right, or we're leaning to the front, which puts us off balance. So we really need to look at my tower. How am I standing? Am I standing tall? Am I standing erect? Am I standing confident, dominant? And it doesn't mean that you have to be 6'10" to be dominant. You can be dominant. My mother was a dominant woman, and she was probably all of, I'm going to give her 5 feet. I'm going to give it to her. But she's probably under that. So sometimes it's not the size of the person. It's the size of what I call your stance, your tower. How are you standing? Who are you? What are you all about? How do you lean? That's what you look at. And so the last word for the R in tower is the reach. How far do you reach? And you don't even know. Sometimes you are more powerful than you ever thought, only because people will come to you because you proved yourself to be honest. You proved yourself to be confident. You've proven yourself to be knowledgeable, and fair. Fair is another thing that should be in your what I say, inside your tower. You're fair. You're not really concerned about what others think. You're concerned about what you think for yourself. So therefore, that would be a wonderful, wonderful something to have in your tower. So the reach is the extent or the range of the application, the effect, or the influence. So that's what it talks about, reach. It's how many people can you reach, just in terms of not even, because generally a tower stands tall and it's not really reaching out in the traditional sense of hugs, of being close. But in this sense, the tower has the possibility to do that, even if once we get out of, or prior to thoughts of social distancing, we understand the power of the tower, the power of the tower, the power of who you are. Nobody can take it away. You are who you are. And your reach, it says your reach could be, it looks at your capabilities. It looks at your capacity, your jurisdiction, your authority, your sway, your influence, your scope, your compass. It looks at your latitude, your sphere, your area of field, and your territory. And I remember one time, under our previous pastor at our church, we did, expand my territory, which was just wonderful. It really looked at, praying that you would have understanding over the things that you were in charge of, or the things that you were responsible for or to. That made it wonderful. And it gave understanding to people who were trying to figure out who they were. Expanding doesn't mean that you're just expanding to expand. You're expanding with knowledge. You're expanding with understanding. You're expanding with just saying, I know what I need to do. I know what, in this sense, God had given me to do. To wake up and say, I'm going to train, and I know there's no money in it, but I'm going to train anyway. To me, that's a gift that God gave me that I'm passing on to you all. The tower that we live in looks at our reach, and it doesn't necessarily mean the physical reach. It could be the emotional reach, the psychological reach, the love reach, the reach of the heart. Just basically puts it out there that the tower can stand strong when it's standing on the right foundation. So our tower certainly is going to make us shored up, if we do it right, that we're in a position to do something, that we're not going to tumble over for the tea, that we're going to be in our position of what I'd say observatory. We're going to be up there figuring out what's going on. We're going to figure out how should we be living our lives? Who is a part of our lives? What are we doing with our lives? We're going to watch, not only just wait, we're going to watch. And watch says that we're going to look and be very observant, okay? Then we're going to elevate. And elevation is the tower itself. How are you standing? Are you standing long, even though you may be short? Are you doing what you know isn't not just important for you, but important for others to know? There you go. And then lastly, we're going to have a reach that doesn't necessarily mean a physical reach, but we're going to continue to reach to those who may just say, hey, look, I appreciate the fact that you gave me a shout out, or that you said, sent me a card, or you said hello through text, or whatever it was. It shows the importance of your reach within your tower. Wherever you are, your tower is always, always with you. So then we want to speak about the questions. And today's questions are, hope you have a pen and paper, hope you will pass this on, hope you will share it. If everyone comes and shares, that would be wonderful. And on the end, I always have a lot of views, so I think a lot of people look at it later. And I'm so grateful for that, so I thank you in advance. I thank you. My YouTube channel is caught up, so you can go to Sandra L. Winborn, no Gary, Sandra L. Winborn, PhD, and you will be able to find, and please join up as a subscriber. That would certainly help. So anyway, when we go to our questions for today, it says, number 1, looking at yourself as a tower. How are you standing? How are you standing? Are you leaning too much forward, too much to the left or the right, back too far? Are you off kilter, or are you standing tall? Doesn't matter how tall you are. You can be really, really short, like Sandy, like myself, but I'm still trying to stand tall every day of the week. Number 2, using your perch on your ledge. Remember I talked about that observatory? Okay, that has an opportunity to give you a perch where you can just sit. What's going on? It says, but using your perch for your ledge of life, are you observing all you need to observe, and are you writing it down? Are you writing it down? Are you making going forward this certain things a part of your life? And I'm going to call out Deborah Burgess last night. It was a wonderful message she put in the comment section that she's really, working with me to work on herself. My sessions are helping her. And if my sessions are helping you, certainly put it in there. But I do it every day. I prepare every night like I'm going back to school, like I was, teaching or doing counseling stuff. This has become a part of my routine. I never try to go to bed unless I'm just exhausted. I never try to go to bed without having prepared something before I go to bed. And as I've told you before, I may wake up and he was giving me something else. So sometime the watch portion of your tower may still be on watch while you sleeping. Because while you were sleeping, he was there saying, okay, I got something else for her to add to this tomorrow. We're going to save that one for next Monday. But for Friday, we're doing this. Sometimes that happens. Okay, question number 3. What do you see for yourself while you are watching? What are you seeing for yourself in your future? What you see? What do you see? What do you see? 2 books. The first book about writing a book, and the second book about the book you wrote and how you got there. Come on now. Come on. Question number 4. Do you need to elevate your view? I'll repeat. Do you need to elevate your view? Sometimes our view is so close to the ground that we don't see anything up. And so what I'm saying, that's why I talked about us being a tower. And I gave you the example of me being a little kid and the tower being so far up ahead of me. Even though my dad, I have to finish what I started earlier, even though my dad told me to look forward, that was for my safety. But once we got in a position where I could look through the window and see the tower, to see the Empire State Building, I was excited. I said, Daddy, is that the building we passed? He said, yes, Sandra, yes. So sometimes you never know what your adventure is going to be because you're too low. The tower observation deck nest is too low. You got to bring it up so you're above some things. And you got to bring it up that you're above more things. Got to bring it up that you can see as if you're above the trees. You're in the sky. You're in the sky. Every day I get up and walk around. I act like I might be 6'10", but I'm not. And I probably am lying now if I say I'm 5'2". I'm probably 5'1", because, I've lost, I'm getting old. So I've lost a few things. But guess what? Still good. The Lord has still blessed me. He still blessed me to be observant, to pay attention to what's in my nest with me as I'm observing. I got a pen. I got some paper, got some binoculars, got some glasses, whatever it is. Got my cell phone. I don't go up there alone. I'm going to tell you right now. I do not. I always have something with me. I carry a pen and paper with me at all times. And then sometimes I'll pull out my phone and just start dictating something and put it in my section where I can go back and actually transcribe it. But anyway, those are the things. Thank you, Sharon. She said, yes, Lord is good. Yes, the Lord is good. He is. The Lord is great. The Lord is great. The last question is, how far does your reach extend? How far does your reach extend? Does the extension cause your tower to lean or be in a position of possible collapse? Sometimes we give and give and give and give. And guess what? We're too exhausted to stand up straight. We do and do and do and do. And guess what? We can't do for ourselves. Our tower is empty. I'm telling you to fill the tower up. Make it so full where you are standing on all the things you know you can do, you know you are, you know you love, you know you believe in, And guess what? That puts you at the top of your tower on your observation nesting deck. Your cat nest. You up there. You're up there. You're in a position of observation. And guess what? Even though you're up high, you can still reach to people. You can still reach out to people, acknowledging them, letting them know I love them. I'm going to tell you all this morning, I love every one of you. Love you. Love you. You know, it just is. It exudes from who I am. I feel empowered. You know, that the Lord gave me this opportunity for somebody to come and hear what I had to say. You know, and I try to keep it real. I try to keep it positive, you know. But the thing is that's my reach. That's my attempt at reaching as best I can during pandemic. But listen, the tower that you are, be it. The tower that you want to be, work towards doing it. Okay? Work it. Work it out. You know, fill the tower up. Be at the top of the tower. Know that you are who you are. Can nobody take you away from who you are. Oh, I love you too, Doc. Thank you. Love you. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Sharon. But being at the top of your game, can nobody break into your tower. I'm going to tell you right now. Because guess what? As they say, the Lord got the key. You can't get in. You can't get in. Don't even try it. Don't try it. Don't come to my door. In fact, especially during pandemic, really don't come to my door. But after pandemic, you know, I'm still going to be suspicious. But guess what? My tower is still going to be standing. I'm still going to be looking at what can I do for others from the observation section of my reach, from the observation section of making people, good morning, Miss Rosie, making people as what I would say leaders of their own game, at the top of what they can do. Because what is given to you is given to you. It's not given to somebody else. Now, God doesn't, you know, he's a good God, so he will give it to other people as well. He will give it to them. But guess what? What he gives to you, that's for you. Use it. Use it. Make it a part of your staying in your tower, understanding the importance of the tower, understanding that you had to, you know, ascend every single step. You know, your hurt, your pain, your distrust, you know, your love, your kindness, your misgiven feelings, your mistreatment, your maltreatment, your physical abuse, your emotional abuse. It's all on the steps. Remember, we talked about those steps. When I first started, we talked about the steps that were at the bottom. And I was trying to get you to clean out the steps at the bottom so you could keep going higher and higher into the tower that God has made you. You are a towering force. You're a towering force. Got to use it. You got to use it. Let it be today is the first day of using your nest and observation deck of your tower. Are you there? Do you see it? Write it right in there. Let me know if you're in your tower. Let me know how empowering you're feeling about who you are, not who Sandy is. You know, I'm going to say this. The Lord has just told me that I should be doing something, you know. And when I leave the world, you know, I'm gonna hope that what was described by Langston Hughes in the poem I read earlier, that I'm not going to be concerned about that continuous meditational hour, that it will go on and on and on and on. I'm there. You know, I just believe that I will be blessed with understanding when it's time to leave here, we will all be peaceful because we were good stewards of what we were given. We made sure that we went up in the top of our tower. We weren't in our basements, that we really looked at life as a good whole going forward and going up, as opposed to constantly being stuck in the basement and worrying about what people will or will not do for us. You're in control. You are in control. You can be the dominant force, leading up, leading out. Now, I want you to have, that's right, Deborah, your legacy. It is your legacy. Whatever we do is our legacy. whatever it is. We may have a large legacy in terms of, millions of people knowing us, or we may have very small legacy. Still a legacy. Still a legacy. But I want y'all to have a wonderful, wonderful day. As I said, I love each of you. Hang out in your tower today. Hang out on your observation deck. Do some observation. Write it down. Prepare for a book, as Deborah's going to do. Prepare to write it down. Well, Deborah's just doing journal. I'm just messing with Deborah today. But I want you to just be in love with who you are, who you will become on your way to being the head of your tower, the master, the masteress. You are it. You are it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And look, have a great weekend. Be safe. Cover up. Don't go out there and acting like, you ain't going to cover up. Just cover up. All right. I want to see you in good health come Monday. And we're going to try to do this again. I love you. Oh, and if you can, I'd appreciate you buying books for your kid. The book is out. It is on Amazon. And they gave me a title yesterday. It said it was the number one book available in the area of music instruction for children. So I'm excited about that title. Yes, yes. And Mr. Al Martin is very proud too. So keep us in prayer that the book will do well, and I hope you can be a part of that. Okay? I'm trying to work my tower. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Love you. Bye-bye.